Hello everyone. I want to share something with you that I find mildly troubling, partly because no one is actually investigating this. And you might recall a previous video of mine in which I said that Stonehenge looks like it was a building and it was a covered up stupa. Essentially there was a roof and there were more layers to it and it went higher and higher and higher. And there's some more evidence for this, because here we appear to have, in this old picture, an outer wall. What's going on here? I mean, there seems to be a pathway going through the middle. Some people pointing, different pathway. Look, there's a pathway coming up through. I don't know if this is a fanciful picture or what it indeed used to look like. Look at this. Look at the size of this wall compared to these people. It's like the foundation of something. An enclosure wall or something. Now, either this was really a wall here. Maybe this could be 17th, probably about the 17th century. Either there really was a wall here, or they are mixing up the ditch. Someone's calling it an enclosure, and they've decided to draw an enclosure, not having visited the site. But the fact is, there's more pictures of Stonehenge, and that's an early one. I mean, look at that. There's a red wall around Stonehenge. And look, here you have people digging up a mound looking for treasure. This is what they used to do in the 1600s, especially William Stuckley and his compatriots. This was a really nice time of antiquarianism in England. And I don't know what that big house over there is. Maybe Amesbury or something, I'm not sure. The landscape itself, Salisbury actually does have a bit. The area around Avebury has a bit of this. Salisbury not really, it's more just rolling hills. And Stonehenge itself is on a bit of a hill itself. This is not next to Stonehenge, and I didn't see any castle from Stonehenge. I don't know if there's one there or not. But look at that wall. Again, there is something going on. And it's really interesting. It's basically saying there are some Saxons pondering here. You see, they're showing possibly the monument in ancient times. I don't even know if these are Romans or not. It is so interesting here. Now, so what is going on? Why is there a red wall here? Was this here? Again, there's something going on here. I don't know if that's the ditch or a wall. It looks like a wall over here, for sure. A reconstruction of the Druidical rites. And again, you know, lots of people mention this and they say, oh, fake. I think what happened was people were chipping away bits of Stonehenge. That's an indisputable fact. There used to be people in the 19th century, 18th century, 17th century with hammers, and they would rent the person a hammer so they could chip away a bit of lucky Stonehenge. And I think they all used to chip away from one spot because they didn't want to ruin the other stones, because they were being nice, being conscientious, and I think that caused this one to topple over. And so they re-erected this one in the 20th century, and that is reinforcing. And I don't know how they shoved that in there, but yeah, I think that was done in the 20th century, and I saw that myself and I thought, wow, that's interesting. But yeah, and Stonehenge actually does look like concrete. That's the other funny thing about it. But I think that is done in the 20th century. That it doesn't mean that the monument is modern. It's still obviously ancient. It was described in the Middle Ages, and that's an indisputable fact. You can't ignore. And look, I found, while I was trawling around, I found this similar type of wall here. It's so similar. This is the city wall of Old Sarum, which was and I don't think I've ever even seen this picture before, because it just gets eclipsed by Stonehenge. It's just eclipsed. So it looks like a bit of Silbury Hill. That is definitely a fortress. There are similar walls on Avebury, really steep. Avebury itself was, the reason that a village is in the middle of it, it was a fortress too. It was a city, a big city. Old Sarum as well. This is a medieval village. This is for me, just, I wish I could go here. This is more interesting than Stonehenge. Stonehenge, you can't even get off the path. They don't let you off the path. It's ridiculous. And I've described this as being so similar to Stonehenge. It's the Temple of Heaven in Beijing. It's about the same dimension. And you've got this red outer wall. And if this is a covered up version of Stonehenge, that would be very interesting, because you have that wall. And in addition, you have another red wall there. I think it's the same religion. Then another outer enclosure. This is basically the pyramid religion, and that is a type of Chinese round pyramid. You have these round pyramids in Britain as well. Isle of Man. And look, what caught my attention of the relation between this and Stonehenge, I was reading a book about this Temple of Heaven in Beijing, and they wrote that lintel architecture is only allowed in sacred buildings or royal buildings. It is not, the peasants aren't allowed to use it, you see. Look at that. And this lintel architecture, this is how Stonehenge would have been built up in ancient times. There might have even been a wooden superstructure. And on top of these round lintels, of which Stonehenge has some round stone lintels, were additional struts. And then you can have a huge dome in the middle. And you see the middle columns, there are only like 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not sure how many there are, maybe 5, just like in the centre of Stonehenge. And that correlates to the outer Sarsen circle over there, and then that red wall. So, what's going on? And again, a pyramid enclosure, a step pyramid, which looks like a step pyramid around the Temple of Heaven. This is Zoser's pyramid in Egypt. I think they were all... The pyramids are actually a kind of a temple or harvest hill. They're not for burial. The burials were here nearby. And again, the enclosure wall... It's so much like the Temple of Heaven. You have that big wall, and you have also the pyramid itself, which is possibly for worship. Sorry, not that one. This one. I think it's the same religion. It's all the same religion, and it was spread out across Eurasia. It's much the same thing, you see. Same sort of stuff. Worshipping heaven. These are built for good luck in China. I think these are built for good luck as well. Guys, thank you very much.